and welcome to Smile & Co. Coffee Chats. Today, we're going to chat all about team vibes. So with this, we're going to chat the good, the bad, and the really bad. So stay tuned and just know that as we share and we talk, feel free to add your comments, what you would like to hear, within this conversation, if you wanted us to go like kind of a different direction with some of the chats. And also just know that your feedback is very valuable. You can share it below, or you can also share it anonymously with us as well. And yeah, let's go. Let's talk team vibes.
Okay. So between Courtney and I, we have 34 years of dental experience. So we are well aware of the steady hustle and bustle of dental clinic and how easily it is to forget kind of to keep that positive office culture within your team, and the importance of boosting people around you instead of getting caught up in the moment and just saying what's on your mind. Sometimes it's important to look inward and just be mindful of what we're saying to each other, just to keep that positive culture going instead of causing toxicity.
Yeah, some of the things that like when I show up into a clinic, be it for temping or be it for my office, and even just thinking back to when I was at my office long term, I loved birthday lunches. I felt like that was so special. We would often actually like book off time in the day and we would go out. So that always it amped up the whole day. It was like everybody was so excited for this day because it was a super, super busy office. It still is a busy office there. And it really did feel like we could connect as an office. We could just like chat and just kind of get silly. We all looked forward to it so much. So that was always like something really good. It just like upped the whole vibe of the team on those, especially those days, and even leading up to it a little bit after, and also it was always nice. Our boss's wife was the office manager, which is often the case. And sometimes, when the office manager shows up, if they're not a part of the office, it can feel, put pressure on the day, or it can feel, a little bit like heavier. But she would show up with coffee. And if she didn't, you were always kind of like, oh, okay. I don't know. I guess it's just like if when she did and it happened, you felt so good, and it just like changed and shifted. So I think it's like sometimes those little things to feel appreciated throughout the day, because in dentistry it's such a grind. There's so much hustle, and it can go a long time without feeling any appreciation at all. So I think it should be like part of like the office day or somebody's job to just like really just make sure everybody's like checked in and feeling good.
Yeah, so I mean, sometimes it's just about those little moments of appreciation. Honestly, it can be as little as just at the end of the day saying a genuine, heartfelt thank you for all of the hard work.
Goodbye, right? Goodbye. Some people will leave and they don't even say goodbye. You're like, oh, okay, where's everybody? If they just like bye at the end of the day, imagine a goodbye. Everybody just saying goodbye, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, it's so nice to just have someone, and it doesn't have to be, as an employer, it's important for you to thank your team at the end of the day. Thank you for everything that you've put into my office, to my business. But even as a coworker, like just to say thank you to your teammates for anything that they might have helped you with today. If you
utilization help, yeah, right? Like,
yeah, you forget to give that appreciation. You never know how it's going to be taken, and it takes next to nothing to just show your appreciation to someone for something that they've helped you with. And then just some added bonuses would be, like you said, bringing coffee in first thing in the morning. Or we worked with a clinic who, and this was an annual thing, and I'm sure they showed appreciation in other ways during the day. But at Christmas every year, they took their team on a shopping spree. So it's like their version of a Christmas party was taking them out for lunch and taking them to the mall, and everyone got gift cards to go shopping.
I've done that before.
Yeah.
The best, yeah.
And then how did it make you feel?
Oh, so good. I still have like a jacket. I think it was from Aritzia and it was like a $350 jacket or something. Like it was a really generous gift. Like the gift card. And I was able to get a few different things, but I would never have bought myself something like that. I think sometimes often, especially as a staff member, especially when wages come into play, right? And you're working and everybody, it is team effort, right? Because you cannot make money in a business like dentistry without the whole team working together. And so sometimes I think, those splurges, like, your wage goes towards rent or your your mortgage and your bills and your children's activities and sports. And sometimes I think, when you're running a business, there is a lot more that you're dealing with, but then also there could be a lot more extra spending cash for you where that, like, say a $500 gift card to a mall and a $300 jacket might not seem as huge to you. But to somebody who maybe is making, 25 to even 65, like it can seem like a huge thing, especially now as our economy is just so crazy, right? Like a grocery bill could like take over, your whole, it's just so much. Anyways, just those little things. So maybe let's chat things that where, it can start getting really hard when the office vibe changes and shifts. You show up and say, people are late or people are, you can feel edge in the office, right?
Mhm.
Like when you show up, be it when you're coming in as a temp, you feel it. You immediately don't often feel like a part of the team. Period. I feel like that is such a huge thing that to really shift and bring up, because coming in as a temp, yeah, you're such a huge part of the day in any position, and yet you don't often even get a hello or even a recognition or acknowledgement within the office or a lot of know-how and like placement in there, I don't know, but
That
yeah.
that's actually a really good place to start with all of this conversation is when, I mean, being kind of the middleman between the offices and the staff that are coming in for even just temporary shifts, we often hear that there's just no appreciation there, and right from the moment that they walk in the front door. I mean, if you're working at the front end and you have someone coming in to help your team for the day, do you do you think that, oh, you're the temp is an appropriate way to greet someone first thing in the morning? Or could you perhaps have their name ready so that when they walk in the door, you can say, oh, hello, are you Courtney? Are you here to help us for the day? We're so thankful to have you here. And
Yeah.
imagine the difference of how that person's day is starting in your office. I mean, if
Mm.
greeted at any point with, oh, are you just the temp? Does that put off a vibe that makes them want to help you? Or do they just want to turn around and go home for the day?
Yeah, hustle, grind, get out, right? Like it's like a paycheck then where I feel like the team dynamic, like it's the camaraderie. It's even in the sterilization room, it can be awkward, right? Like if you aren't like, or even whether you're a part of the team long term, short term, or temporary, that sterilization room can be such a good little spot for just like, how are you? Like, like catch up and stuff without like adding in any extra kind of drama. It's hard not because it's your work family, but yeah, I feel like having that like instant connection and knowing, you know, the person at the front or being like, yeah, meeting the team, right? Like, I don't think it's like often that you'd be like, oh, this is so and so, this is so and so, this is the dentist that you'll be working with. It could take 5 minutes, but it could change the whole vibe of how that person's coming in and and even for yourself, right?
Yeah, so I guess is a good time to mention that we're currently working on an onboarding form just for temporary staff, so that when you have someone come into your office, you can just give them a quick rundown of the office instead of leaving them to their own devices where they have no idea what they're getting into. Instead, they're immediately introduced to the first person who's at the front desk, and then they're given maybe a buddy for the day. Not that that buddy has to follow them around, but at least they know who to go to with questions if they don't know where something is, if they don't know what time they're supposed to take their lunch at, what the expectations are. At least this will help them get started on the right foot for the day, because otherwise you're leaving them kind of lost, as if it was the first day of a new job. I mean, I feel like everybody knows what that feeling is like, where your first day on the job and you have no idea who anybody is in the office. You don't know who to talk to. You don't know who to ask questions. So for temporary staff coming in to help you with the day, it's important to help them get started on the right foot and give them the information that they need to make it through the day, and present your clinic the way that you would want it to be presented.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, it's exciting. Yeah, we've got a few different kind of forms checklist, and then a like a really great broken down way to just like change the whole atmosphere before they even come into the office, especially with our chat integration system. It's something you could send them beforehand so that they're aware of it, but then also ask those questions before, right? As a staff, like as a candidate going in, ask the questions like, are you thinking of it, right? There's a lot of chatter that'll happen in Facebook groups and different things, and imagine if you just like went straight to the office first off the top, right? And just like ask those things, because one person's experience doesn't always mean that it's going to fall down for your experience. But also just like going with like a fresh start of your own, way to look at the office too. Because vibes are everything, and energy is like, it's felt, you can sometimes cut it when you walk in, right? You're like, okay, there's people in this office that are, not getting along, or there's, a lot of the times, it's people will avoid confrontation, and oftentimes it's just a matter of like, somebody in the office does need to like recognize that and to be able to like dissolve it, because it can really affect the flow of the day, how everybody's feeling. And then I guess that's where it comes into like the toxic team member, right? So the really bad is when you're talking toxic team member that's there. They could have been there for years and years and years, and just, continuously, like when that person shows up, or if that person's in a good mood, you're good. But if that person's in a bad mood, right? Like there's definitely that too, where you don't know what day you're going to get them on. And you're afraid, because it's also, what do they call, what did she call it? Actually, that's also really cool too, because we're going to be having a guest next week. It's going to be talking A players, C players. It's going to be talking dream team, like how to pick your people, and like things and signs to look for. And she's got so much information and knowledge. But what did she call it? The brilliant idiot or something? What was it?
Not the brilliant idiot. It was the brilliant jerk, I think.
Brilliant jerk. Yes, the brilliant idiot. Oh yeah.
It was the experienced employee who really knows how to do their job. They're amazing at their skills. Everything that they put their mind to, they do it properly. But their personality or their vibe is toxic, and
taking it down.
And it takes down the whole team. So they can be amazing at their job. They can get everything done that you need them to get done. But if it's affecting the entirety of your team, then it's not helpful for your business. It's not helpful for your culture, and toxicity spreads. So if you have that toxic employee who can't be nice to people, then you have a bit of an issue within your team, because people don't want to stay around that. So you will lose team members just because of that one person if you keep that one toxic employee on. But I mean, we can talk about that today, but we actually have Andrea Roberts from Rascal HR coming next week for next coffee chat, and I'm so excited to bring her on, because she is a wealth of information when it comes to HR.
Yeah, she's awesome. She's Spitfire. I think she's like 30 plus years of experience in this. And I can't remember exactly how many people, was it 2,500 people she's fired? Or was it like 25,000 or 30? It was like an insane number of how many people she's fired. And it's like that expression where it's like, hire slow, fire fast, because your team is everything. And sometimes it can feel so desperate to get somebody in that position, which is where temping comes into play, right? Like it's essentially a working interview that you get to test them out, and then you can just say, hey, do you want to stay, right? Like this is something that we're actually looking for. And I think people would be surprised that, having the right team and all the right people clicking and connecting, it elevates everything. All of a sudden your revenue is increasing. Everybody's bringing these new beautiful, brilliant ideas to the table, and they really want to work together and just make sure there's like cohesiveness. So yeah, was there anything else? Kind of good, the bad, and the like really bad.
I think it
That
was,
person you just got to get rid of, but it's hard. But yeah,
I think her number was around 2,500. 25,000 would be
2,500. Okay, that's okay. Yeah, 2,500 was still mind blowing, but I'm like, wait, yeah, okay, 25,000 would be insane. But even the number she shared was crazy. I was like, wow, that's really impressive.
she can
Hard to
fill us
do.
next week. But yeah, no, I think she will be a wealth of information for
Hmm.
everybody. Join us next week for our next coffee chat. Other than that, I think the biggest message from today is the first place to start is looking inward. How are we treating our teammates
Yeah.
and our employees and everyone around us? Because how you treat someone else is often going to indicate how they're going to treat you back. So if you have an edge to you, they're probably not going to have a warm and friendly response to you. But if you're coming from a place of care, then they usually have a good response. But
Hmm.
most important thing is always to look inward. How are we talking to people? How are we communicating? And what vibes are we putting off?
Yeah, totally. Because it can like make or break the day and it can shift. And, walking into work, it should literally be like this wall of like, all right, like, like this is work. And ultimately the patient is the reason why we're there, right? Like at the end of the day, it's for the patient and the patient feels it. There, you're in such close proximity. So just like knowing how you can shift it. I love like, different types of like pump up music or like just different things, the right people to talk about, not complaining before you head into work. And then, yeah, just like knowing that when you are working with the right team, that really does like just change everything. So you can like do your thing there, have a beautiful day, and then, leave with, yeah, a smile on your face.
Go home to your family in a good mood.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Alrighty. Well, cheers to our kind of first official, really like, kind of chat with Smile and Co. Coffee Chats. And yeah, we will see you guys next week with Andrea Roberts from Rascal HR. Cheers.